over more than half of all current work tasks. Employees in every industry will soon work side by side with smart machines to become more efficient and productive. And AI has the power to help us solve some of our biggest problems, like climate change, education inequality, and improving global health. But who will decide which problems AI should solve? How will we ensure our AI systems are ethical and fair? Who will decide whether AI works for us or we work for it? Our ability to answer these questions will determine the quality of our future lives. To design an AI-powered world we will actually want to live in, today's students must know how to do more than just use AI. They need to know how to harness it to create solutions that will improve lives. This won't happen on its own. Teachers are the most important link to developing the new generation of AI-savvy learners, workers, and leaders. Across the globe, students and teachers are beginning to learn about AI together. They're exploring the capabilities of existing AI tools, building their own applications, and considering what rules are needed to keep us safe. They're also learning that the more AI can perform transactional tasks, the more important our uniquely human skills like empathy, creativity, and critical thinking will become. AI is already here, and our students need to be ready. By learning to create with AI, today's students will change the world in ways we can't yet imagine. Are you ready to help students create the kind of AI-enabled world we will all want to live in? Are you ready to teach the future?
So the biggest takeaway from that is that when we look at artificial intelligence and it's ever changing, we need to be ready, and it's going to continue to impact our students. And so we need to find ways that we can ensure that our students are ready for this ever-changing dynamics that they face. And I just wanted to look at a couple little more things that have to do with AI. AI has three basic principles. We've got our learning, we've got our self-correction, and we've got our reasoning. So these are three large principles and components. And from the video, the increase of AI is only going to become more and more. So as we really look at the tie-in between human performance technology, artificial intelligence, and we look at ourselves as educators, and we look at, what does our week look like? So typically a teacher is about 50 hours a week, but less than half of the time is actually in direct interaction with students. So when we look at the components that really make up our everyday of teaching, there's a lot that has to do with preparing, working with administrators, maybe working with a student that has a social emotional skill. And so the actual engagement piece is not that large. And so that's where the research of how can we use digital technology to impact that and really just cut down on a lot of these activities that are taking away from the most important thing, and that's the actual interaction with students and moving students forward in their learning. So when we look at AI in the classroom, I just took a look at some of the different things that I found valuable as to different ways to techniques or ways to get started. And so this is a website, Digital Technologies Hub, and Digital Technology Hub gives different content that you can use in your classroom to kind of get students in front of how the technology is going to change. And so when you are on this site, I will send this to you later so you can look at this if you would like, but you can go through the scope and the sequence. You can go through different ideas. It will give you lesson plans of introducing some different ways to work with AI. The Teachable Machine is also something that was kind of neat because it gives you multiple lesson plans, and it just gives ways to allow students to kind of work together, but also to be able to kind of see different ways that AI can work. So they can record different things and see how the computer picks up on what they're doing. So it goes through some different activities to kind of start simple. So as a teacher, to kind of get an idea of a part of what this could look like in the classroom, as well as to give students an idea of AI. And again, as we talk about artificial intelligence, instant feedback is available. So again, that component of feedback is important. Adults need feedback, but students need feedback. And we know, and as we get busy through the day and we're trying to evaluate many things, the feedback is not always as quick and precise that is necessary to benefit our students. Because especially as middle school teachers, something that we're doing today, our students, tomorrow is a whole new day and they may have completely forgot. So if we're not able to offer that immediate feedback, then we lose those opportunities to really engage in those skills that they're undertaking. This report here, this little image shows a little bit about when we've got human interaction with artificial intelligence, and then we have artificial intelligence that kind of is by itself. So together we can look at working with humans, artificial intelligence. There's more assistance, making decisions, actions, and then separately just taking a look at those tasks. And we want to put tasks in front of our students. We want our students to be able to utilize different technology tools, but we also want them to be able to communicate and to be able to problem solve more so on their own. And so as we can really evaluate and look at our performance gaps and look at ways to integrate technology into the learning process, our overall goal should always be looking at how do we lessen these performance gaps and push our students forward. Because as they get ready for the real world and they go out and work someday, those are skills that are necessary. And those are not usually skills that someone just all of a sudden is able to have overnight. They are something that you have to practice and work through. And that's why these opportunities presented in the classroom can really help with what we're seeing with our students and helping prepare them. Human performance technology in education, we've got our teaching and learning have really advanced, and it's great to see the advancement. I mean, we've gone from prior to even having technology. I mean, I didn't grow up with technology not like we have today. We have the keyboard. And so now we've got all types of technology, and it really just integrates and just brings that whole picture of being able to work together. And whether you're working with someone in the same classroom, but technology allows us to be able to work with people all over and to be able to have more real world experiences right in front of our faces. Human performance technology, when we look at educational technology, there is this model, the technology acceptance model, and that suggests that users that are creating more performance opportunities to enhance the performance between students and the instructor. So as we utilize our technology, that technology is helping move forward the performance that we're hoping to see. And that's why it's super important to take the time to analyze where students are with the performance behavior and where we want them to go and how do we push them forward with that. So our policymakers, our stakeholders have such an important task to modernize our education, to make sure that we're expanding where necessary and we're keeping up with the times as well. And again, it falls back on the research I've been conducting with artificial intelligence. It is important undertaking to really look at so many more possibilities that are available for our students. Artificial intelligence aims at transferring information. So it's just pushing forward information. It's pushing forward communication, which are such key skills. And so as we can analyze and look at where these skills are, even at the early level where we saw our students many of our student populations are already starting out behind prior to even entering in kindergarten. And so, how can we push forward with that young age and just lessen the gap from the get go, as opposed to always trying to play catch up or always trying to figure out what else we can do? AI involves more machine learning, so that deep learning is giving more opportunities to kind of connect with how our students perceive things and how we can use feedback to help push them forward. Education, we know, continues to change. We've had where we had our traditional teacher-led environment, which was more of the teacher, but now we're looking to have the student have more say, which again pushes forward our students, letting them have more of a say in their learning. And our students are more likely to engage in learning when they have a say of how they're going to learn something, giving them opportunities to know a little bit more about how they perceive information and what they enjoy doing is going to push them forth and really coming up with more ideas of how they enjoy learning and ways to maintain that information so that it actually is valuable to them. What impact does this have on our stakeholders? When we look at our stakeholders, educators, we need to provide the most effective designs. We need to look at ways to always increase that student and excitement is really huge and beneficial to our students. We need to make sure that we have the best design that is being used in the classroom, making sure that it is something that is going to grasp the attention of our students. And we need to just make sure that we are utilizing the technology, but not just saying that we're using technology, actually using technology in a way that delivers the whole meaning of what information students are learning, as opposed to just saying, oh, yeah, my kids, they use computers, because that's not enough. Some research has revealed that high technology in the classroom doesn't always guarantee high academic performance. We can't just say this because our kids are on technology or using different pieces of technology that they're going to be high performing. That's why we have to go back and we have to take the time to implement the HPT model and really look at and analyze where we need to start with. Like, how are we going to take a look at the big picture? I mean, that, and again, it takes time and it's not something that's going to happen overnight. We've got to front load that information and really dive in and kind of pull it apart again to look for ways of how we can go forward. Effective change, one of my resources, Lucas 2020, effective change remains a challenge and it needs to be considered. There's a lot of different strategies that are able to be utilized, but as we look at our stakeholders, we need to be on the same team. We need to be able to come up with plans as to what can we put forth. And again, it's not just sitting down and saying, yep, this is my standard I have to teach, and I'm going to utilize some type of technology, and then I'm going to take the time and assess my kids and see if they learned it. And if they did, great. If they didn't, well, I'm on a time crunch and I got to go forward, because that's not helping with this performance gap. And finally, AI it's impacting our in our education sector, and it's moving forward a lot of our society. For our students, AI allows us to have education at any time. It allows us to have artificial intelligence has a lot of benefits for our kids. It allows education at any time. It gives many different educational platforms that are available. There's more opportunities to have virtual mentors, whether it's in and out of the classroom or other people around the society. We look at AI in education, again, just some overview here of the things that are available. The feedback is huge. More learning plans, more intervention is available, better looks at assessment, skills, weaknesses. As we move forward into the future, there's going to be a great need to incorporate more technology. Artificial intelligence is increasing, and its role in society is going to continue to push forward our students. The AI development cannot yet be foreseen today, but it seems likely that it's going to be have a lot more availability and options for what it can do over the next 20 years. The tools for AI have potential to support our students and our administrators through many different cycles. It also gives us more collaboration, and it provides the importance to really develop and look at the skills that are necessary for our students. And I also have a link to my references for this report I put together today. I want to thank you for the time to be able to share some information I've learned on human performance technology, how that relates to education, how that relates to technology and education, and also how that connects to the digital component of artificial intelligence. Thank you.